Sivir for Light. They want to really accelerate and help further facilitate the ability for Weibo to just brute force and storm on in through AL's defenses.
DPS threats, and I do value that as the game goes later, the Scion and the Trundle will begin to be able to just get churned through.
Speaking of the Scion, could be in trouble as Breathe already used the public execution to snag Flandra out of the decimating smash, but Tarzan might have arrived a little too late. He does have to watch his top laner fall, but should be able to at least clean back one onto Breathe as Flandra's trying to beat him down.
It's so close!
Passive. Great flash from Tarzan! Drops the aggro and takes a double kill for himself.
And I think that's something we've seen from the LPL as well, and maybe a lot of things internationally. Flandra's actually in trouble.
You know that he doesn't have flash, so the seismic shove. Oh, nice buffer by the unstoppable onslaught to not get flicked by the combo. Okay, Flandra, I see you.
Yeah, it's great timing. It does mean that he burns his ulti once again, and I think that fortunately there's no real contest for neutral objectives, so not having an ult, not particularly going to be a problem for him, just means that he's got to play a little bit safer now for ult, and hopefully those trades will end up being, beneficial for Weibo in those situations, but they see Chris.
Oh no, and look at that, the Poppy Trundle Pillar combo worked so beautifully. Chris cannot even escape, even with the power of that unbreakable will, damage reduction on top of it.
Poppy Trundle combo, I mean, one of the benefits that AL were leveraging so frequently in Split 2 was their synergy between Tarzan and Kael, and the link-ups they were able to find.
That's Weibo on this Rift Herald. They're just going to use the power of those 3 grubs they got earlier and look for the first brick of the game right on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is gone, right? Like, this is Trundle trying to take turrets. Does it very easily. This is also looking at the power of 3 grubs plus the Trinity Force. They're absolutely fine to try and take this trade. Now, Rift Herald is probably going to get summoned, but they're looking to collapse here.
He's sending it. He knows that Weibo were trying to get a turret back in the mid lane. Great unstoppable onslaught right onto Light. Able to distance himself away, but here comes the rest of the onslaught.
Triple shove.
Weibo, big seismic shove, but Keeper's Verdict winds up and punts away one member. Shockwave is flashed by Breathe, but Tien is left isolated. And that means anyone's legend gets their kill that they were looking for and completely neutralizes the Rift Herald play. Shred through the armor until they get to those Black Cleaver power spikes as Light might be in trouble here. No flash from the prior fight. Hope just annihilated him.
On his way back, so Light getting picked out there. A pretty uncharacteristic death, but one that he cannot afford all the while. Crisp now forced to ult.
Seismic shove on the Tarzan, but he's so damn tanky thanks to the use of the Subjugate, and the Great Pillar forces Tien to be in a bad spot and gets chomped down to bits. Xiaohu almost at 50% HP.
But it's by Hope, who's going crazy with the Corki. He's just Wing forward into the face of Talia, into the face of Sivir, into the face of his Xin Zhao, dashing into the Crescent Guard so that he can do as much damage as possible.
What once was just 2,000, 3,000, now effectively a 4,000 gold lead, and they're looking for more. Breathe, using public execution to reposition so he can get into the tri-bush. The pillar's not as deceptive as it could have been, but Breathe's still gonna get run down anyway because Tarzan is just too damn fast.
Honest, I'm Breathe, Tien, or Light looking at this, I'm like, oh, Trundle's built butter for me, but he still just kills me. What's happening?
And they get the wall slam right on top of Tien, so now there's no smite contest coming in anytime soon from Weibo Gaming unless Chris can swap to it with his unsealed spellbook, but it's going to be a tough task to be able to pull off, and Weibo, down in man, have no means necessary to be able to really steal this Otacon away from anyone's legend, so this objective, once again...
So he's going to be able to take the tier 1 turret on that top side and get a little bit of gold back for himself, but again, we look at this in the grand scheme of things, this is a very thin silver lining across an absolute storm of clouds that are hanging overhead for Weibo. Down 4,000 gold, tier 1 turrets falling on side lanes, now collapsing in mid lane as well. When your Sivir can't wave clear again, just speaks to the pretty shocking state of affairs that you're currently finding yourself in.
I think Jackie Love best demonstrated in one of the top esports games. Might be a potential pickoff here for Weibo as Breathe already jumps on the Flandra with that public execution. Xiaohu will gonna try to stop him, but Flandra picks a nice angle for the unstoppable onslaught, and he's just gonna send it into the base. And all right, well, I guess we'll give the kill over to Light potentially here. Flandra is just gonna try and stall for as much time as possible. And you know what? He's doing a pretty darn good job of doing that, because the rest of anyone's legend is pushing up waves on the top side. They're taking a turret in the mid lane, or at least prepping for it.
Tien, you need to help this guy.
Other minion wave, and he's getting another minion wave too. Flandra is so goated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he had to resign himself to death there. I think that he could have maybe tried to run, get a little bit of help from his team, and now AL maybe in a little bit of trouble with the Weaver's Wall.
Okay, Tarzan forced a flash over that one. Doesn't want to drop the shutdown bounty. Kyle might be in a sticky situation as well. Already used the Keeper's Verdict. They've got a blast cone. 30 seconds away from this Baron spawning Rude. I imagine if AL just want to continue making this game very fast-paced, they can just easily start it right on spawn. They have a window where there'll still be another minute before the Dragon spawns. Tarzan might be caught out here. Remember, he already used Flash for the other Weaver's Wall pickoff, and this could be really big. Unstoppable onslaught from Flandre tries to stall the fight as long as possible. It's a big shutdown and goes into the pockets of Light. Shanks trying to flank with this shockwave. Still hasn't pulled the trigger quite yet. Kyle gets dropped by Tien. Weibo trying to pull a miracle. The shockwave only catches one on the Xiaohu, but doesn't drop him. And Hope cannot get into this fight. He's trying to play around Shanks' range, but the rest of Weibo Gaming are playing with absolute fire. But Hope blows up Crisp, and now looking to turn tail onto Xiaohu. Everyone is so low.
Out.
Hope has to go forward, but he's baited in by Weibo.
Is he doing it?
Breathe, and he drops Light as well. Xiaohu, the only survivor, but anyone's Legends star 80 carry.
200 HP here this entire fight. Does he recall? No. He knows he's safe, so he's able to just sit back, provide that little bit of support, use the ball from the Orianna, and keep everybody alive.
The evolution of Hope over the course of this 2025 season has been one of the greatest joys of becoming an anyone's legend.
WBG, because they could get pays. He was a player that got replaced by Ruler as well at a certain point in his career. Like, he was an AD carry who was always incredibly well sought after, but just not that top tier. And now Weibo, though, they're looking to fight once again.
Kyle winding up the hammer for the Keeper's Verdict, punts away one as they slam Tien into the wall. The Crescent Guard not going to be able to block as much damage because they're all right on top of him. Breathe rejoins the fight. Chris trying to do as much as he can, but the Shockwave is great. It catches Light and Crisp in the folly. And Weibo are now running for their lives. Xiaohu tries to distance himself away with the Weaver's Wall and trying to kite as he throws rock after rock, but those rocks ain't doing shit as anyone's legend wipe the floor with Weibo Gaming, and they push in for the base win.
Clean ace. Game number 1 goes to AL. Weibo tried as they might. They fought back in this game, but they weren't able to do the work. A great Keeper's Verdict from Kyle, and now they'll do the victory march.
AL had a lot to say after their loss against BLG last night, and the way they are stomping Weibo in this first game leaves a lot for promising in the series to come. AL lead the series 1-0.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.